Welcome to another episode of Business Talk, a podcast presented by Business West and sponsored by Greenfield Cooperative Bank. I'm Joe Bednar, the editor of Business West. We have a great guest today. I'm so excited to talk to Heather Casey-Roberts. She's the president and CEO of the Springfield Symphony Orchestra. Welcome to Business Talk.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. First timer.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've talked to you before. We did a story in recent months.
Yep.
So a lot to talk about. I love talking about the SSO. I think it's so important to the community.
I love talking about it too. So,
But just for something kind of timely, and this podcast will appear a day or two after these events. But I know you're getting ready for a big July 4th weekend. Tell me about the SSO's part in that.
we are in the throes of preparing for an epic 250th in partnership with the Spirit of Springfield for their Star Spangled Springfield experience. We are taking the Springfield Symphony Orchestra out of Symphony Hall and right on down to the riverfront, which I think is a completely underused piece of amazing land that everyone needs to come down and check out. That's just a small, on the side there. Um, Almost 30 years. It's been almost 30 years
Yeah, I
since the
saw that.
SSO and the Spirit of Springfield have done this together. Now that we're in the middle of it again, I think I know why. It's a lot easier to not do this than it is in the best way. For me, this has been an incredible learning experience. I just finished my first year at the helm of the SSO. And to be honest with you, I can't say I've ever moved an orchestra out of Symphony Hall before. So when I approached everybody and was like, "Hey, we're doing this," and I saw the looks I got, I was like, "Eh, whatever. It can't be that bad." And while it is not that bad, it is a massively huge team effort that could not have been done without the people behind the scenes in our office at the Spirit of Springfield in the Parks Department, the people building these stage that this stage we're bringing in is insane. It's
Yeah.
like so it's kind of momentous for so many reasons, personally, professionally, for this community really to come back together in front of live music. And people flock to Boston for that, and
Sure.
we're doing it here,
And this is the full orchestra
full orchestra.
accompanying the fireworks?
We're not accompanying the
Oh, okay.
fireworks. We are leading up into the fireworks.
Gotcha.
We are getting everybody prepped and ready and,
So
excited.
concert people can enjoy as part of the event. It's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
So the gates open. You can come on down to the riverfront around 6. We're gonna play around 7. And we are going to be announcing a guest community conductor that people are bidding on for right now, which is incredible. And then right after we end, people will have the chance to sort of turn their chairs and their blankets around and then watch the fireworks right over Memorial Bridge.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty epic view. Um, One of those memories that people will look back on those photos of for a long time and be grateful they were there.
Yeah. I know you're excited about the opportunity to lead the SSO. I know you've called it your dream job. Um, Tell me a little bit about how you came to. You've told me this before, but how you came into the organization and
Yeah.
what your some of your experience was before that, and why this was the perfect fit for you, and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
So, I'm not a musician. That's a question I get asked all of the time. Well, what do you play? And that is nothing. I faked playing the flute for many years through middle school. So I apologize to all of my bandmates now. Um, I came back. I was able to become a part of this team at the SSO during COVID. It was right after things had sort of started to slowly open back up. There was talks of maybe having a small season, and they had asked Paul Lambert to come in to be the interim executive director. And we'd worked together previously through NEPM and AIC, and he knew I was sort of trying to figure out my next thing and wanted me just to kind of come in and write grants. Development's really sort of been my background for a long time, but not just fundraising and engagement, building community, teams, all of that. It's AIC that I was able to just really grow into, I think, my strength of being able to put back into the community where I'm living, and now I get to do it in a method that also allows me to experience music on a daily
Mm.
basis, which has always been something I've thrived on forever. Um and now I get to hear it live. I get to help decide on pieces. I'm getting to help shape the future of something that could help shape the future of Springfield and our
Sure.
community here in Western Massachusetts, because orchestras are bigger than the 6 or 8 or 10 concerts they put on a year. They are the economic drivers. They're the leaders of arts and culture education. They can really
Sure.
be a conduit to what we want our community to look like. So to be able to be in a spot in a community that I cherish to my core is and do what I love and be able to put joy back out into it is it's just incredible. So I really get to wake up every day while yes, I'm stressed. I love what I do. Like to the depths of my soul.
I actually agree personally with both those things. I've stressed a lot on this job. There's a lot to do as
Yeah,
the editor of Business West, but I'm proud of it.
right?
Been
And
here,
you
been here a
feel
long time.
I think it gives you a different sense of purpose when you
Yeah,
really truly believe in what you're doing and
absolutely.
why you're doing it. And when you start to see the small glimmers and changes of other people understanding that too, you know, different people sort of being like, oh, hey, I've never even thought about going to this before. Hey, do you need help, moving your instruments from Symphony Hall to the riverfront? Because we've got a truck and we can help you. And, thanks, Career Express. Um, but it's it's a beautiful thing. It's the hardest thing I've ever done besides being a parent, I'm pretty sure. So, there's that, but it's joyful.
I was going to ask you about this a little later in the conversation, but we just kind of leading in from the talk about how you have a background in development. Let's talk about the importance of the kind of support the SSO gets and why. I think you had told me at one other time that ticket sales don't come close to covering the expenses, and so it's just the community support is so important. What forms does that support take, and why is that so important, and how challenging is that these days?
It's insanely challenging. I'm pretty sure any leader, any person working in the nonprofit world across the board would say it's hard. The world's hard. It's being able to give back is a decision that people don't take lightly, and we're not blind to that either, which is why we're trying so hard to showcase that this is bigger than just these moments that we have on stage. Um, for us, we're in a very interesting place with our budget. We're really at a moment of trying to define if this community wants to have a Springfield Symphony Orchestra and what it needs to look like in order for them to want to keep us around for a long
Mm,
time. We are at a point where our ticket sales, we had a 15% growth year over year last year, which is incredible and not standard across the industry right
sure.
now. But we had a 30% decrease the year before. So, when you do that math, it doesn't quite math yet, but
Yep.
it's moving. Ticket sales are probably about 25% of our budget for revenue that comes in. That's minimal.
Yeah.
The average industry is probably around 30 to 30%, 35%. 30 to 30 isn't even a number.
There's math that's not
Sorry.
mathing. There you go.
That is math. That's not mathing. Ooh, okay. 30 to
Yeah.
35%. Um, Sponsorships are really where what we need to thrive. And we've really taken a hard look over the last few years. And sponsorships aren't even the right way to put it anymore. We need partnerships. We need people to buy into what they want their city to look like too.
Sure.
And this is showcasing that. Because we know not everybody has the ability to just write a big check. So in many, many ways, we are starting to really take a different look at grant funding. We applied for our first National Endowment of the Humanities grant um, for I don't know if it's ever, but in a very long time
Sure.
of history that I can find. Um, well, we did not get it. We had an amazing learning experience, and it again brought forth how critically important it is to have live music, to have music education, to have a cultural center in your community
Mhm.
because it brings people together across the board. It provides jobs, it provides mental health. It provides it provides physical health, dexterity. I mean, it's proven in medical journals now the impact that not only playing an instrument but singing and hearing music has on the mind and the body. So, the more support we can get to keep pushing that forward, the healthier and better our community will
Yeah.
be all around.
And I think you've said this to me. I know Paul, your predecessor, had said that to me in the past as well, that not every city of our size has a
No,
symphony.
it's super
It's rare.
uncommon.
So
Yeah.
I
The
mean, people
fact
don't
that
understand
we
why that's
do
important. Yeah.
is something so unique, and it's become a mission of mine to get people to understand that it's so unique that we cannot lose it, because it's easier to say no. It's easier to not fund this. It's easier to not have a symphony hall like we have, which is literally world known. When we have our conductors come and step on the stage, the likes of Joanne Falletta, who is one of the world's most renowned female conductors, to have them come in and be awestruck by our building is mind blowing. And so these are things that you don't want to lose, because those people then go back and bring their little piece of Springfield out into the world and encourage others to come. Um, I think that we're at a place where we have to just make some big decisions about what that looks like. There are huge symphonies across the country: Chicago, Cleveland, Boston,
Boston. Yeah.
obviously. They're not blind to any of these problems. You read what's happening at the Boston Symphony Orchestra right now. They're also losing money. Their ticket sales are down. Where this entire industry is at a precipice of deciding, how do you modernize while respecting tradition? And having a community come in to help us determine what that looks like is pretty special, and I hope that they'll all decide that it's worth keeping here.
You're listening to Business Talk, a podcast presented by Business West and sponsored by Greenfield Cooperative Bank. We're speaking today with Heather Casey-Roberts, the president and CEO of the Springfield Symphony Orchestra. And that last answer of yours just kind of led into something I wanted to talk about, which is I know you're probably planning the coming season right
We
now.
are.
And I know one of the emphases of the last several seasons is to really the idea of modernizing, respecting the
Yeah.
classics, but also respecting new forms. Kind of tell me how that manifests itself and how that is part of the planning of the season.
So our season that will be beginning in October is so beautiful. I'm so proud of the work that was put together. We haven't had a music director since Maestro Rhodes,
Yeah.
and so it's been 5 years, I believe. We've been working with our musicians to help create our programs for the season, and so we are able to hear exactly why some of these pieces are so important to them, and we're allowed to share why the community may not know that. So how do we introduce them in these pieces? And it's become a really incredible partnership. We took this season and focused on our library that the Springfield Symphony Orchestra owns and has, because it's incredible.
Hmm.
It's honestly another really cool thing. I'm looking to find some way to be able to, showcase the history that we have just sitting in these musical pieces. So we're really leaning into what we have and designed these beautiful homegrown programs that all sort of reflect different times and elements of the year. We have some concerts that are really special because they're in memoriam of people who were big pieces of the symphony's history. But we took a really new approach with our three non-classical concerts, our standards, not the masterworks, none of those, our holiday show and two others, and redefined what we want people to be able to see as an access point into the symphony. And they're going to be really special this year. It's so hard for me to not divulge the details, but I would have my marketing manager on the phone so fast, my development person, they'd be like, Heather. So what I can say is that there are going to be so many songs that you all know
Mm.
this season, whether you are a lover of classical music or not. There are pieces that you have heard hundreds of times in your life that you don't realize are played by symphony orchestras that we are going to bring here and give a little Springfield flair to it.
Well, without divulging what's coming up this year, you can talk about last season, which didn't you have the Motown Philly Sound
We
concert? I
did.
mean, that's something you're not going to see every day at a
No.
symphony.
And it created a completely different vibe to the music. Most people know the songs that we were singing and quite literally dancing to. We had a conga line in the aisles. It was a moment that I looked at and were like, whoa, we did something here. We created something really special. And that's what we want to do all the time. There was kids dancing, there was people in walkers dancing. I mean, it took music that we all know and gave it a whole new life
Yeah.
with, 70 professional orchestral musicians behind it. And we saw that and we saw that the audience loved it and we heard you, okay? We can say that. Let's keep anybody who loved that concert should keep March calendars open, okay? Let's go there.
Little
Let's
teaser
say
there.
that. A little bit of that, yeah.
And even at the more traditional shows, there's typically also a like a newer composer
Mhm.
featured as well, right? So you're still kind of bringing in something
We
new.
are. So last season, one of the most incredible, very different concerts we did was in February with Johann de May, who was the composer, and we premiered his piece Planet Earth. He was inspired by Holtz's, the
Planets. Yeah.
planets, but Planet Earth was not included in that. So he decided we needed a turn and took care of that. And his amazing wife put together this audio visual movie that told the story of Mother Earth and really what happens if you don't take care of our planet. And it was very relevant to where we are in the world right
Mhm.
now. And it allowed us to showcase pieces of such well-known music, with Jupiter, and then bring something completely brand new in, and it was hard, it was a hard piece to learn, um, and we received very mixed feedback, with the screen that comes down, but we for the people who loved it, it was like, wow, I felt like I belonged there,
Yeah.
you know? And so we're trying to find the right balance with everything that we're doing. And we'll continue to do that with this next season with some really well known pieces and then a few more that kind of make you go, huh, okay,
Yeah.
they might be onto something.
And the other element to kind of modernizing and bringing in new audiences is kind of introducing young people to music at an early age. And I know you have some outreach programs with young people to that effect as well. Can you tell me about some of that?
Yeah, our youth orchestra program, the Springfield Symphony Youth Orchestra, is a mind blowing little unit of musicians. um, we had this past season about 120 students from across 4 different counties, Springfield up to Amherst. We
Mm.
rehearse at Holyoke Community College every Sunday, and these kids work. Some of them have come in and have had lessons before. Some of them, this is their first time trying it, and there's truly the support for everyone in that. And it's building not only their memory and a talent and an outlet, but it's also building camaraderie and it's building teamwork and compassion and patience, which the world also needs more of in
Of
this.
course.
And it's allowing us to showcase the history of music, which has to be told. It's the history of our country. It comes from, it is what we are. And respecting that and allowing it to be told through this next generation is something we feel really proud to be able to do, but also feel that it's very important. So we actually have a new staff member starting in 2 weeks that will be heading up our education and youth outreach and our youth symphony program, working with the incredible team we already have in place to establish more accessibility for students to learn about music. We already go out with it's called the musical petting zoo. There are no animals involved, but there are instruments, and we go out and bring them and show how to use them and let people touch them and feel what it might be like to have your hands on a trumpet or a violin when you may not have that opportunity elsewhere, and
Sure.
ask the
Yeah.
questions and maybe it'll spark something along the lines. So those are some of our biggest things, but my favorite thing we do is our education concert. We had 2,000 fourth graders in Symphony Hall this year on a Tuesday with our orchestra on the stage. Jorge Soto was our conductor. We had our youth musicians up there singing and playing as well, and you would have thought Bad Bunny was in Symphony Hall. For real. It was chaos in the best and most beautiful way.
Yeah.
But these students were in awe. First, they're like, "Are we in a castle?" You know?
Yeah.
We got to we got to open up eyes of 2,000 students that may not otherwise have ever not just set foot into Symphony Hall, but may not have ever heard live music and may not see somebody that looks like them up conducting or in
Yeah,
a position like that. And it was incredible.
that's awesome. Getting close to the end of our conversation, I don't. Um, we talked about early on some of the challenges, fundraising, and just kind of like just the massive efforts that go into
Yeah.
everything you do. But just on a super positive note, tell me about what is so gratifying. I mean, you've talked about some of this already in our conversation, obviously,
Yeah.
but what is so gratifying and what you enjoy most about coming in and leading this organization every day?
It's such a hard question because I'm clearly obsessed with this job in the best way now.
I think it's great. I love the enthusiasm. I just
Thank
think that's
you.
wonderful.
Honestly, it's I think allowing something that could so easily fade away, breathing new life into it.
Yeah,
Really, it is because I can see and I've been able to learn from so many of my peers and look at other cities, Baltimore, for example. Their symphony orchestra has completely changed the entire infrastructure of that city of arts and culture there and this vibrancy and life. And I think that we in Springfield have that opportunity. And I am determined to not let it go down without a huge fight. And it feels good when I hear somebody say, you know, thank you for having a concert in Tower Square. I would have never come to Symphony Hall, but this changed that for me.
yeah.
That changes something for me. And it says, hey, you're right. I'm not crazy. I'm just really trying to meet people where they are right
And it's an
now. And
economic driver downtown too when
yeah,
when the shows are going on.
when the concerts are coming on, I mean, Juneteenth, it's a day of celebration. For example, most places were closed. There was more people in Tower Square that day than I've seen in so long, and they came to support local business. They came to hear music, and it was amazing. On show nights, we have people coming to stay in hotels, go to restaurants, have a
Yeah,
drink. We are constantly pushing the beautiful, beautiful experiences you can also do. The museums, the Hall of Fame. There's it's a great place and we just want to be a part of making everyone else realize that.
it's fantastic. Anything that I'm missing? Anything else you want people to know about the symphony or
We're
as it
going
comes?
to be announcing our season very early in August. We also have another huge announcement that I cannot wait to share. That's been another hard one to keep a little under wraps.
And we'll be
And
sharing that with all of you when that happens. So
uh-huh, all of you. Absolutely. So just, think about a subscription. It's not a lot. It's $300. You get access to 8, 9, 10 beautiful concerts a year. Just think about it. Think about giving it a try. Think about what your grandparent or your grandchildren might think if you bring them in, your cousin, your mother, whomever it may be. Just think about opening up your mind a little bit to what we can be here in Springfield in general. So,
fantastic.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me blab.
No, I love talking about the SSO. I'm so happy that you came and joined us today. So I appreciate this
Pleasure.
conversation
Thank you.
and happy 4th of July.
Yes, happy 4th of July. No, I have to go help build a stage, or at least they'll tell me to get out of the way, but I'm gonna go try.
And thanks to all of you for listening to Business Talk, a podcast presented by Business West and sponsored by Greenfield Cooperative Bank. I'm Joe Bednar, the editor of Business West, and we'll see you next time.